I caught parts of it. It was unbelievable.
Unbelievable. What was your first takeaway, initial takeaways of
Well,
it?
it's just that it is exactly what you called it. It is a circle jerk. These all these fucking puppets of businessmen sitting there, applauding for each other, and there's nobody in that body fighting for you.
Mhm.
I don't. It's just it was just gross to hear these people brag like they did something for people. They just got done breaking a railroad worker strike. They they just got done going through a pandemic without giving you health care. They they just sent $100 billion to Nazis in Ukraine for a proxy war against Russia because of economics, so we can sell more gas. So our oil
Yeah,
companies, which actually run those guys, see that's the
yeah,
thing. You have to. Those guys are all, and it's just, and the people who don't take corporate money straight up, they going along with that. It's hilarious. It's right. It's just that's what I say. It's at I wasn't the first one to say this. It might have been, I don't know who it was, but someone said it's actually worse to have, quote unquote progressives elected inside of the Democratic Party because
hmm
real change isn't going to happen until people lose faith in the system. But that gives them faith. There's someone inside that system fighting for you. The system can work. The system isn't going to work. If they say, if what they say is true about climate change, the system ain't going to work. And they're never going to do anything. They're never going to do anything that
but
will. If what they say, if what the science is on climate, if they believe what they say, they
yeah,
know they're not doing anything to stop it, and there's going to be catastrophes fucking all over the place.
true.
And so that's the sad thing. And people are still wrapped up in celebrity of politicians,
hmm
and people are still wrapped up in the celebrity of Bernie Sanders. I was for a while, but because I really believed in him. But
Me
as
too.
soon as he showed his hand that he wasn't going to make the Democrats pay any price at all for cheating, not him, but they cheated his movement. Once he
hmm
once he didn't make them pay a price for that at all, they didn't get corporate money out. They didn't get rid of super delegates. They didn't do any fucking thing. It's unbelievable. And
hmm
and then and then he didn't tell his movement to do anything.
Yeah,
He didn't say, hey, let's get in the streets and do this. Hey, let's do that. Let's protest for that. Then nothing. They just like Barack Obama when he got elected, disbanded his movement.
true.
Bernie basically disbanded his movement.
hmm
And he told them, hey, go vote for Joe Biden, even though Joe Biden isn't giving you anything. I'm not using my leverage to extract anything for my support. I'm just going to do this because the establishment will turn me into Ralph Nader. And I
Yeah,
can't stand that. That's all that is. So that's why there's no lefty leaders. That's why all the squad in the House tuck their tail and go along with Israel and corporate America and
hmm
bust unions and military industrial complex. What is the
yeah,
point of electing them? Again, it's actually halting progress by
yeah,
electing quote unquote justice Democrats into the Congress. It's not changing the system. The system is changing them,
well,
and
yeah,
they're not even complaining. Right? They're
yeah,
not even saying, "Hey, we're powerless in here." But
hmm
they're not powerless. They actually do have power, but they just
hmm
will refuse to use it. They will refuse to use their leverage. What the
hmm
right wing just did to the Republicans proved that the left wing will never. Right now, right?
yeah,
It's just, and that's why. So, and all they do is identity politics. And let's remember, identity politics are there to keep black and brown people from making economic progress.
that's
That's
true.
what the fucking economic politics with identity politics are. And that's all they have. And
Yeah,
I'm on. I'm on record saying we got to stop voting for both of these pro-war, pro-Wall Street, anti-worker parties.
hmm Well, I mean, as far as identity politics goes, I mean, it's really a perversion of identity politics because
Yeah,
for those of us who are,
yeah,
especially, as you can see, and I can't hide it, but I'm black. So the thing is that for us, race and class are intrinsically linked. And so when they talk about kneeling in kente cloth, how is that going to increase our your wealth.
Yeah.
For instance, how is that going to give us reparations by kneeling in kente cloth and saying that you got Ketanji Brown Jackson as the Supreme Court judge? Like, that representation does not equate into actual policies that would help those of us, especially who are Black. Or, for instance, what about trans people who want gender affirming surgery? You can get gender affirming surgery in Cuba, which is awesome, which is beautiful, but you can't get it here. And then people who are trans actually have to go and get GoFundMe's just to be able to afford gender affirming care. And so when it comes to them saying, oh, we are with you, you don't see it in the actual concrete policies. And so, for instance, Barack Obama said that one of his first priorities was going to codify Roe v. Wade into law, and he said it in 2008, and then he skipped out on it. He was like, "Oh, did I actually say it? No, I didn't say that. You heard wrong." And so, next thing you know, now you have women and people with uteruses that are sitting there going, "What the hell is going on?" And one of the questions that I wanted to also ask you, part of your last statement, you were saying that that people are putting all their hope into these progressives, right? And one of the things that I also wanted to bring out was Sabi Sabs had on, she had on Jesse Ventura a few months ago, and Jesse Ventura actually recounted the story where he actually approached Bernie Sanders and asked him if he was going to basically do what we consider now a dirty break. The same thing that was asked of Marianne Williamson by RBN about 2 weeks ago. But he said that no, he was not going to do that. He was going to support Hillary Clinton at the time. And that told Jesse Ventura everything that needed to be said, right? My question to you is, where is the line among workers? When is it going to be a point where we all start to band together? Like, where is that line? Is it going to be where people can't afford enough for a loaf of bread in the stores? Is that going to be the line?
I don't, I'm not smart enough to know. I do know that in the rest of the world,
Yeah,
the left politics is connected with the working class, blue collar.
yeah.
It's not that way in America. It's connected to, the what do you call it? The professional managerial class, right? It's
True.
the middle class and smarter people than me have made this point that, and so for them, making economic progress is getting a certain number of people of color on the board of the company, as opposed to getting a minimum wage or a living wage or getting health care for everybody. That's so their focus is totally different, and that's so I guess, and that's by design. I'm sure, we're finding out that the FBI was infiltrating Black Lives Matters, paying people to create violence. And of course, right, they're paying people to kidnap a governor, paying people to do acts of terror. And the FBI, they admitted on television. I played the clip on my show that their whole job was to make sure progressives and what they considered socialists didn't get elected. That was part of it. So the FBI is just like a thug creation of the oligarchy to enforce whatever it is that they want, and then create chaos, infiltrate any kind of workers' organizations or any kind of lefty organizations, infiltrate. They get them, then they split, they divide and conquer, and it's been this. And they have bullshit organizations like the DSA. Like, tell me that wasn't set up by the oligarchs to keep people fucking passive. Just like Bernie Sanders and the squad are there to make sure any revolutionary energy gets funneled right back into a pro-Wall Street, pro-war, anti-worker party. It's incredible, and it just keeps working and working. And now there is some hope, and for me, I always point to Christian Smalls. And his organizing the first union at Amazon, and he did it on Staten Island, which, if people don't know, that's a suburb of New York, or a borough as they call it. And Staten Island, I think that's what they call them. You know, I'm not sure, but anyway, it doesn't matter. Staten Island is made up of mostly white working class Trump voters, and
Mhm.
so he had to organize those people. And so once that's what's actually scary to the oligarchy and the establishment, that when people wake up to our common enemy, and that you know, your progress is my progress economically, and that we're all tied
Yeah,
together, and that's what
yeah,
actual class organizing looks like. And when most people in the Democratic Party, who are people who vote Democrat, use the term class organizing, they don't mean it. But what that means is organizing with Trump voters. It means organizing with libertarians. It means organizing with anybody who shares your class struggle.
yeah. The thing is that
I
I
know.
think that I think that uh, a lot of people who would be against us when regards to our identity, if they don't like us, I'll put it this way: if a bunch of trans people start doing the anti-war rally, and if you don't like being around trans people, you won't go to the anti-war rally. But if you actually care about the lives of everybody, you'll show up, and then you come to realize that they're not your enemy.
That's right.
And that's one of the things I think that is a
That's a great point.
troubling within the country. Um,
That's a great
and
point.
I'll put it like this: um, if you have any type of anti-trans or racist ideology, you're being played, because you're being used to separate yourself from the groups of people that are also disenfranchised, so that the people at the top, the people who exploit the most, are going to win. You have to realize that everybody's going through the human experience. And so once you start to look at them as other, then you're actually doing the work of the oligarchs in this country. And so this is why, a lot of us who are disenfranchised, you know, uh, this is a teachable moment to teach them, like, no, we actually have a lot of the same concerns as you. You just need to take that type of ideology and toss it out, because guess what? If you continuously keep that ideology, it's going to destroy us all.